demographics are an illusion. There are many, many things that the conventional wisdom is absolutely correct about. But the problem is that we're fighting for single-digit percentages of market share. And so, yes, there can be broad generalizations you can make. For instance, Pat likes golf. And if you look at his ethnicity and his gender and his zip code and his age, you would think that Pat should like golf, and he does. Pat and I are in the same demographic. I hate golf. I do. I can't stand it. I played it 8 times. If I play it a 9th, it'll be terrible. But you would think demographically I should like golf. I actually like Taylor Swift. Like the red era Taylor Swift, not so much Cardigan, but like Cardigan's really good too. And the problem is when you use demographics, you are going to oversubscribe to the certain percentage of people that are in the demographic that don't neatly fit in it. There are people who would fit in the demographic of laundry detergent who clearly don't buy laundry detergent. And then there's other people that historically you wouldn't think would buy the product, and then they do. And if you strictly use demographics, you are missing both sides. You're overspending in one place, and you are not talking to the people that you should in another. And the reality is that the future is going to be owned by people who have that level of sophistication. And the way we do it is we don't look at gender. We don't look at age. We know if you buy Doritos or laundry detergent because it says it in the receipt. Yeah. Like there's explicit first-party evidence that you're in this actual segment of this product as a customer. And is way, way stronger than looking at all of these weak signals. And those weak signals largely existed because there wasn't anything better. And it was largely a misappropriation by advertising using this other science to try to accommodate a lack of understanding about who is buying what.
In our world, just tying it together, you talked about product matching. I think better product matching, better use of machine learning to identify the right products, that's a clear win on ROI. It goes very towards the mission our clients are trying to achieve, which is more sales, incremental sales, get it in front of their consumers. But product matching, machine learning helps ROI. It also helps then drive better offers. So we don't need to just rely on things like demographics. You like Taylor Swift, I don't.
What?
Exactly. Like looking at me is like, how is that possible?
Well, I would go further than saying demographics are outdated. Demographics have always been outdated. They've never really worked. And if you look at the digital marketing platforms, they don't use demographics. They look at actual activity, actual interest, and whether you neatly fit into these sort of just arbitrary buckets or not does not predicate who they talk to. And that is the future in digital marketing. The big difference is largely in terrestrial, brick and mortar sales. We are stuck in the last century. And the reality is what Fetch is doing is it's basically bringing digital level precision to terrestrial spending. Mm-hmm. And so a 10 million active user base is a very large user base, clearly. But it still only represents a portion of the market. Now you can extend that portion of the market to make very intelligent decisions, but when we're at 30, when we're at 50, there isn't really going to be demographic marketing spend, just like there really isn't demographic marketing spend in the digital platforms, because it doesn't work.
Well, I think the aha for me was you take that, even in our own universal database, 1 million products, that's too much for any one human to understand and know, hey, if someone buys X, Y, or Z product, trigger this. But when you introduce a machine to it, it can start to recognize these couple of items are strong signal and strong indicators for this. So it's, again, a little bit of letting go of control, of not necessarily knowing exactly who gets what and why, but trusting that there's enough data there to actually do it.
Well, and it's letting go of control that you never really had to begin with, because you're making these broad, sweeping generalizations that because I am of a certain age and I live in a certain city, that I'm going to be more predisposed to like one thing versus another. And it's just simply not true. And when we've got the specificity of what you buy, when, and where, we can be better. We can lead to more efficient outcomes for our partners.